So I know it's been a while since I posted anything, and I meant to get to this quite a while ago, but here we are now. So I want to talk about communications, specifically secured communications, because your cell phone on AT&T, Verizon, whatever, even Pure Talk, right? I've heard that advertised on the radio as being better. They're not going to give away your information, whatever. It's horseshit. Um, so secured communications would mean something decentralized, off the grid to a certain extent. Um, no, no big corporation owns the infrastructure for it that will give up details about you, um, encrypted messages that you're passing, things like that. So, Meshtastic, meshcore, and reticulum. That's what I've worked on in that order. So a few years ago, when I started Meshtastic in this area, it was pretty great. It works well in a small group type of setting. If you want communications for your neighborhood, or if you live out in the country somewhere and you want to get a hold of your neighbors here and there, right? Maybe get some people involved all together. Small towns, Meshtastic will work fine for. If you want to get any kind of long range, or if the group gets large, Meshtastic will not work for you. I don't know what exact numbers it is for how many nodes within X amount of radius starts causing problems. I know my area, Hillsboro, I guess Portland in general, the Portland metro area, the node density got too high, and the way that Meshtastic routes its packets is just a flood routing. So they just go everywhere. There's no path that is calculated from one place to another. So you get packet collisions, and things become really unreliable. I couldn't talk to anybody from my apartment. I even put a repeater up in my garage out there. Didn't help me. Um, I thought maybe getting some of the RF noise, eliminating some of the RF noise would help. It didn't. So meshcore is what I'm using now, and there's a really reliable network all up and down the I-5 corridor at this point. So from here at my apartment in Hillsboro, I can talk to people up in Vancouver, not Vancouver, Washington, Vancouver, BC. I can talk to people in Seattle, all around Seattle, all the way down to Medford, Oregon, to the south, almost the California border, all through RF. There's no internet bridging. People keep internet bridging, but you can set regions in there, and I've set my region to west because that encompasses the whole West Coast. So um, it eliminates bridging for the most part. Meshcore has been great for me. You can use really small stuff, or you can go step up, build your own, right? Build your own like this. That's not running meshcore right now, but I have ran meshcore in that in the past. This is the Seed Sense Cap T1000E, and this is the Rack WizMesh Tracker. They are very similar in size and shape. They fit in a pocket really well. This goes everywhere with me, the Rack one. I just got it, flashed it. Build quality to me seems a little bit higher, and it has an IP66 waterproof rating, which is a little bit better than this guy. I don't remember what this is, but it's not great. This one is my wife's for now until I get a bunch more of these. This cost me $50, and this cost me, I believe, $50 also. So really not that high of a barrier to entry as far as price goes. But then I I wanted to make my own network that I could bridge over HF, UHF, VHF, the internet through TCP connection, use a Starlink Mini or something to set up a localized network wherever I happen to be. And so that's where it starts to get it gets more in depth for setup and planning, things like that. So this is running reticulum. It's a rack 19003 board with a 4631 radio module on it in a Polycase EX52, 52 or 58. One of them's shorter, and it would be fine for this application, but I wanted the bigger one because I plan on putting the 1-watt rack board in here. This antenna is GPS. This antenna is LoRa, both from ZBM2. They make really good antennas. I like them a lot. So there's that. This is also flashed with reticulum. It's a MagSafe mount, so you can magnet this on the back of your phone. It stays with you if you want. I'm not as much of a fan of this one. It's all printed. It seems a little cheap. Feels cheap to me, a little flimsy, but it works. And I don't remember who makes this. There's no branding on it anywhere. This is a rack 4631 in this. That's made into a custom board for everything else. There's no GPS in this, so you can't track where people are, where members of your group are, which can be helpful or can be a detriment, depending on how you look at it. And then this is my repeater setup. So for reticulum, it's called a transport node. Any transport node for reticulum has to have a computer connected to it to process routing. I don't know why, but it is kind of nice because now, okay, I have this Raspberry Pi 4B. You can use a 5, you can use a 0, doesn't matter. I'm using a 4B because I wanted an exposed Ethernet port. And we'll get to that. I got a Pi 4B with a heatsink, and then I'm using the Pi Sugar board underneath it, and that is connected to not a Pi Sugar battery, but it's a 15 amp hour 3.7 volt battery. It came with a 5 amp hour battery, and that's fine, but it only lasted a little over 5 hours. I fell asleep. Last time I checked on it was 5 hours. When I woke up in the morning, it was dead. Somewhere in there. I don't know what time it actually died. I didn't have anything set up to track that. But I will start testing with this 15 amp hour battery soon. The reason it's okay, in my opinion, for reticulum to need a computer is because reticulum will bridge over any interface you could think of. Right now, it has a rack board hooked up to it for LoRa. And then in the future, I'll be adding HF capabilities to this and putting it in an enclosure of some sort. So we'll have an HF radio inside the enclosure, hooked up, good to go, power it on, and you're going. So then you can eliminate any kind of internet bridging depending on frequency and power selection of your HF radio. You can get up a really, really long ways, and antenna choice, orientation. But my plan is that I can use this to set up an RF network, LoRa network, wherever I happen to be. If I'm over in Eastern Oregon out in the middle of the desert, I have cell service, but I can set up a LoRa network, and I'm not reliant on cell coverage. I'm also not reliant on anybody else's infrastructure. I'm putting my own infrastructure up from my own communications network, keeping all of my data in-house, which I like a lot. So with that, battery life is pretty short with a Pi hooked up to it. I would imagine this will last a day, roughly. Reticulum is completely encrypted, and I can hook up a Starlink Mini to this while I'm out in the desert in Eastern Oregon to the Ethernet port. So I can put an Ethernet port in the top of my enclosure, hook it up to this, just plug my Starlink Mini into that, and I'm good to go. I can get anywhere in the world through TCP, and that works well. Reticulum is end-to-end encrypted, and it is point-to-point routing. It's not flood routing. So you send an announce, that's flood routed, that goes everywhere, so that every node, every transport node in the reticulum network that you're capable of reaching knows where you are within that network. Not your GPS position, but what kind of routing, what path needs to happen to get from one point to another. So you send an announce, and then you can send your message. Now your message will go through only the ports that it needs to get from one place to another. So if I'm over in Eastern Oregon and I have an HF radio hooked up to this, it's in an enclosure, it's all good to go. Ants are freaking crazy, it's getting warm out. It's in an enclosure, it's all good to go. It's on top of a mountain, and I have this guy with me in my pack. I connect to this with my phone, and I can use this to send over HF back to here. And I'm going to set up a coverage area of some sort around here, hopefully soon. This is more expensive to build out, like a lot more expensive. The Raspberry Pi Sugar was like $50, I think, with the battery that it came with, and I spent another $20 on this battery, and I've got a day worth of power here. I have to add more battery power to this to get multiple days because the solar around here is kind of iffy. Pacific Northwest, it's always raining, cloudy, except for right now, because apparently we're having an early summer. All this to say, if you're going to set up if you want to set up your own communications network that's secure, reliable, and untraceable, you're going to have to spend some money to do it. Not a whole lot. Reticulum on a Pi is probably the cheapest way to do it. You could set up an LTE network, but that's kind of a pain, and you have to register through the government for that. So that's pros and cons. But a Pi with Reticulum, LoRa, you could do Halo, you can do HF, UHF, VHF, TCP. I'm working on integrating satellite internet into this, so I don't have to hook it up to a Starlink. I would have to carry some kind of an antenna or dish around for it, but I wouldn't have to hook it up to something separate, right? Keep everything in a nice, neat enclosure. I think it would be a hat would go on top of here, but I'm still working on that. I'm still working on this Reticulum network. It's been years in the making. I've on again, off again because I get frustrated. And then I go back to Meshtastic or meshcore. But meshcore is good. It's good for large area coverage. The rack 4631 that's in here, that's all you need for Meshtastic, right? You can put a big battery with it, solar panel, put this up on top of a mountain somewhere, and you're good to go. With Reticulum, it takes a lot more. It's a lot more power. It's a lot more computer skills, which I'm working on because I don't really know what I'm doing with Linux systems. talking to people, apparently I know more than most people out there, but not most people that use Linux regularly. Um, I think this rack WizMesh tag will work with Reticulum network. I need to get a few more and try it out because it's using the same 4631 LoRa chip in here, and that is an option for flashing Reticulum. I just don't think it will have the full support of buzzer and lights and all of that stuff. These both have GPS enabled in them also, which is a great little compact package. It's way smaller than this, right? Way better. But this I can put a much bigger battery in. I can make this last weeks without recharging. Can't do that with this. This is 1 to 2 days, depending on how much you're using it. But yeah, I mean, your data, your information, every text you send, no matter how encrypted or secure you think the messaging app that you're using is, it's not secure enough. Reticulum will bridge through TCP. It's not held on any servers anywhere. No messages are held anywhere. They're not decrypted by any transport nodes. They're just routed through the transport nodes, still encrypted. Nothing. There's no breach anywhere. There's no way for that to be it can be intercepted, but it can never be compromised until somebody figures out your encryption, which it's AES 256 encrypted. So that's going to take a little bit, unless we're talking supercomputer technology before it really becomes an issue with AES 256. They're all good options. Meshtastic, it's good for small groups. Setting up your own network if you want to. Meshcore, depending on your area, you may already have a really good network set up for it. There's nodes, repeater nodes, all up and down the I-5 corridor from Canada down to the California-Oregon border, at least where I'm at. I don't know about anywhere else in the country because I haven't been anywhere else in the country with those. Reticulum is all encompassing, and that's why I'm working on it. It can encompass anything that you can think of. I've used Reticulum on my cell phone, on cellular data, send messages back and forth with a friend, and it works. So you can use existing infrastructure for it, or you can build out your own network for it, your own infrastructure, and set it up to be completely off the grid, completely decentralized. So the con of that is that it takes a lot of work. It takes some money to invest money into these systems like this. Meshcore and Meshtastic are pretty cheap to get into. Reticulum is not, if you want to set up a decent network. But that's all I have for you today. As I continue this, I'll add more videos. I'll do some demonstrations at some point of what's possible with it. At some point, I want to go through my configuration file with you guys, show you how to set these things up, how to set up your transport node, because it's a little bit difficult first time, especially if you don't know Linux very well. Eventually, I'll get into that. Not today. So, set up your own networks. Be independent. You don't need mega corporations to help you. You can help you, and you can help your community. If you could put forth a little bit of money and a little bit of knowledge, learn how these systems work. You can do it yourself. You don't need big tech, and you don't need the government for anything.